With the championship series in the rearview mirror and the World Series on deck, it's time to start talking about more free agents for the Seattle Mariners. And this one is going to be about the pitchers, either starting pitching or the bullpen. We're going to talk about both here in this video, and we're not going to include Shohei Ohtani because dude can't pitch next year. But we are going to start with, I think, the most obvious fit, in my opinion, and that is left-handed pitcher Blake Snell. Obviously, Snell is from Washington. He grew up a Mariners fan, so he's a guy that's been talked about a lot. Will the Mariners want to spend the money on him? I'm not sure. But I think Blake Snell makes a lot of sense. And I think any of the starting pitchers that I'm going to mention make a lot of sense if you were to go out and trade a Bryce Miller or a Brian Wu or Emerson Hancock or what have you. Going out and getting these guys. I'm not saying you need to go out and get the aces of the world if you trade off one of those like young starting pitchers. But wouldn't hurt. Let's take a look at Blake Snell's numbers. Snell is 30 years old and coming off arguably his best season, where he posted a 2.25 ERA in 32 games with 180 innings pitched. Now, Snell did give up 15 home runs, not too bad, but the hard part was his walks. He walked a lot of guys, 99 walks, but he did strike out 234 batters. Snell pitched to a 182 ERA+. His strikeout to walk ratio was 2.36. He was also averaging 11.7 strikeouts per 9. Spotrac, obviously talking about contracts, talks about a prediction for Blake Snell, a 5-year, $115 million deal with the Baltimore Orioles. That comes out to about $23 million a year. That's a lot of cash, right? But we also know that Blake Snell might want to come to the Seattle Mariners because, well, he's from Seattle. So I'm not sure if it would take $23 million to get Blake Snell to Seattle. Maybe that's why I'm wearing the CS Spend shirt, because I want them to spend to bring Blake Snell to Seattle. I don't know. But $23 million is a lot for Blake Snell. I'm not sure if he'd be worth it, especially with all those walks. He doesn't really fit the dominate the zone mantra that the Mariners are used to. The Blake Snell situation reminds me a lot of Robbie Ray. I'm just saying. Snell's probably going to win the National League Cy Young, but a guy who has a chance to win the American League Cy Young is Sonny Gray. We know the Mariners like Sonny Gray. They wanted to get him a few years back, and he pitched really, really well this year for the Minnesota Twins, and I honestly think he might be a better fit than Blake Snell. Let's look at his numbers. Gray was in his age 33 season. He had a 2.79 ERA in 32 starts, 184 innings pitched. Gray pitched to a 154 ERA+. He also struck out 183 batters and only walked 55. Spotrac has him sticking with the Twins on a 3-year, $66 million deal, which comes out to $22 million a year. Am I willing to pay a starting pitcher even $20+ million a year this year? No, probably not, just because of how good our starting staff is. But with that being said, Sonny Gray makes a lot of sense, and again, we know the Mariners have liked him in the past. He's a little bit older, but he posts, he gives you innings, and I think that he would be a really good fit for this Mariners ball club. Again, probably not at $22 million a year. If he's willing to take like 18 or something, but I don't know why he would to come to the Seattle Mariners, then I'd think about it. And on a 3-year deal, it's a short deal, so that's probably fine in my opinion. But I'm not so sure Sonny Gray makes as much sense as this next guy, and that is left-handed pitcher Jordan Montgomery, who we've been seeing a lot in the playoffs for the Texas Rangers. He came over from the St. Louis Cardinals, and I like Jordan Montgomery a lot. He's a guy that I was talking about at the trade deadline as maybe the Mariners should target him. Let's take a look at Montgomery's numbers. In his age 30 season in 2023, Montgomery posted a 3.2 ERA in between two different teams, 188 innings pitched. He went on to strike out 166 batters and walked 48 with an ERA plus of 138. His strikeouts per 9 were only 7.9 and his walks per 9 were 2.3. Spotrac has him at a 6-year, $110 million deal with the Texas Rangers, going right back to Texas. And again, he's been really, really good for them. That equals about a little over $18 million a year for Jordan Montgomery. Now, I'm probably not willing to do 6 years for Jordan Montgomery, but I do think that adding him to this rotation would be a good thing if you were, again, to go out and lose a Brian Wu or a Bryce Miller to go out and get bats. Again, talking about these starting pitchers, that's the only way that I would go out and get one of these, like, front-of-the-line starters, is if you lose Brian Wu and Bryce Miller and you want to go out and add a big-time name. You don't have to. You can go out and sign someone much lower on the totem pole than these guys. But for the sake of argument, we're talking about Jordan Montgomery here. Another lefty in the rotation who has proven to be really, really good, and especially in big moments. I know a lot of people in the comments have been complaining about an all right-handed rotation. Let's keep in mind that wasn't the plan. Marco's left-handed, Robbie Ray's left-handed. They just both got hurt. So I guess if it would make you guys happy, adding Jordan Montgomery works well for me. I like him quite a bit. I think he'd be really good for the Seattle Mariners, maybe in like the 4 spot or something like that. Again, is it going to happen? Are the Mariners going to go out and sign a starting pitcher? I'm not sure. But what they need to do is go out and sign a reliever. And my very first guy I want to talk about is Jordan Hicks, another guy that came over in a deal from the Cardinals. He went to the Blue Jays. I really wanted him at the trade deadline. It just made sense. Obviously, you traded Paul Sewald. Go out and get yourself another good, proven reliever. Jordan Hicks, in my opinion, was that guy that was available. Let's look at his numbers. Oh yeah, before we move on, I do want to talk a little bit about Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Yeah, he's 25. He's coming over from Japan. They project him to get 5 years, $85 million with the Mets. I'm pretty certain he's going to go to the Mets, but I think the Mariners do need to be in on him. Just so we're clear, the Mariners should be in on Yamamoto. Jordan Hicks pitched in his age 26 season between St. Louis and Toronto. He put up a 3.29 ERA. He had pitched in 65 games with 65.2 innings pitched. He had an ERA plus of 132. He struck out 81. He did walk 32 though, which is a not great ratio. And walks have always been Hicks's problem, with 4.9 being his career walks per 9, but he also has a 9.4 strikeout rate. Jordan Hicks does not have anything here on Spotrac. It's only in the top 10 free agents in their opinion. But when I look at Jordan Hicks, I think he'll probably take a 2 or 3 year deal, and it shouldn't be too terribly expensive. We're talking maybe $5 million a year at the most. I think that's worth it for Jordan Hicks, especially with the guy that's so young. And under this Mariners pitching lab, I think it'd be a really good fit. Now, Hicks isn't someone that's all that proven, but again, you need to go out and replace what Paul Sewald left out there in the bullpen. And the next guy I have is Josh Hader, a lefty out there in the pen. You know, love him or hate him, we're just going to talk about Josh Hader's numbers here and how good of a pitcher he is. I think he'd be a good fit out there in the bullpen, a guy you could have in the 9th inning. Is he going to want to get more than 3 outs? No, probably not, after what we heard with the Padres. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look up Josh Hader, comments or something like that. Hader was in his age 29 season in 2023, pitching to a 1.28 ERA in 61 games. He pitched 56.1 innings. He struck out 85 and walked 30. His ERA plus was 321. That's pretty damn good. A 3.21 ERA plus. You can see that Josh Hader has been one of the elite relievers in all of baseball. His strikeouts per 9 was 13.6. He had a walks per 9 of 4.8, still relatively high. Spotrac has him going to the Chicago Cubs at 5 years, $90 million. That's a lot of dough. That'd be $18 million yearly for a reliever. I'm probably not willing to give that to Josh Hader, but with that being said, that's an option for the Seattle Mariners. He's very, very good. He would be your lockdown closer in the 9th inning. Is he worth $18 million? Probably not. I don't know if any reliever is worth $18 million after we've seen what the Mariners can do with relievers worth $750K. So, I don't know. I think that in a vacuum, Josh Hader makes a lot of sense, and that's why I'm wearing the See Us Spend shirt, guys. Okay, because I just want them to go out there and spend. But would it be smart to spend $18 million on a reliever? No, probably not. But for a guy who's been there, done that before like Hader, I think it could be a possibility. But someone who's been there even more than Josh Hader is Craig Kimbrell. Now, we've seen Kimbrell a lot over the past few weeks, month or so, pitching for the Phillies out of that bullpen in big games. Craig Kimbrell has been around forever, and he's one of the best closers in baseball history. Let's take a look at his numbers. Kimbrell, in his age 35 season, had a 3.26 ERA. He finished 45 games, pitched in 71 of them. He had 23 saves, 69 nice innings pitched. Kimbrell went on to strike out 94 and walked 28. His ERA plus was 132. I see a number here I just want to point out really quick. An 8.85 ERA plus for the Cubs in 2021. Oh my God, 36 innings pitched. That's ridiculous. Craig Kimbrell is 8th on the all-time saves list, and I would not be shocked to see him jump up to even 3rd above Lee Smith. He only needs, 70 saves, and he's probably got another 4 or 5 years left in him. I think Kimbrell has a really good chance to be one of the best of all time. Spotrac doesn't have a prediction for Craig Kimbrell either. I'd probably give him 2 or 3 years at maybe 12 to 15 million a year. Does that get Craig Kimbrell to come to you? I don't know. But I think it just makes sense. Craig Kimbrell, again, very, very good. Has a chance to be one of the greatest closers of all time. Would he fit in this bullpen? I think he would. He's a lockdown guy. Again, been there, done that. We need proven guys. Craig Kimbrell might be the guy for me. Are the Mariners going to go out and spend on pitching this offseason? I don't know, because really the big problem for them is hitting. And I made a video about my top hitter free agents right here on the screen. Now go ahead and check that one out. I appreciate you guys watching this one. And go Mariners.